In any video project, there will no doubt come a point where you want to add some titles and graphics to your project to help communicate your message. And so let's take a look and see how you can do that in Edius. Now, if you're very serious about doing video production as a commercial venture, as your business, you are no doubt going to want to look into getting some third-party software for your titling needs. I use Adobe products, Photoshop and After Effects for my titling needs. Other video editors that use Edius have given some high marks to a program called Title. I've never used it myself, but apparently it works well and also has been updated to work with version 6 of Edius. And so you might want to take a look at that. Just Google Title, Vistitle. But we realize that there may be some times when you need to just add some quick titles and just want to work with Edius itself. Maybe you're just using Edius as a hobbyist and don't want to go to the extra investment of Title or the Adobe production suite. And so you just want to throw on some titles. So let's take a look and see what we can do with Edius. It's called Quicktitler. And you can launch Quicktitler over here in our bin window by looking up here at the top and finding this icon here, the Add Title. And as we click on that, we open up our title tool. Now what this does is actually brings up the actual video frame of the point where your timeline cursor is resting when you open the tool. And so while it might look like at first glance you've already got some kind of an image here and a title already, what it's really just showing us here is the frame that our timeline cursor is resting on when we open the title. If you want to change it from the background being the video frame, you can change it to a white background to work with or a black background, or choose some still image off your hard drives if you prefer. I prefer to have the video background as a reference. But if I already have some titles going there and it might become confusing, what we probably want to do is shut off those titles. Let's just maybe close out our title tool here and maybe mute our video tracks where we already have some titles going there. So now all we have is the video itself showing through, and now when we launch the title tool, we'll just have the video as a reference. All right, now maybe the first thing that you'll want to do is turn on your title safe area guides. As you probably know, every video monitor that views your video might show your video in just a little bit different way. More of the edge will show or less of the edge. And so in order to make sure that your titles will be seen in their entirety and not be dropping off the first one or two letters of your title, you want to make sure that your titles fall within this video or title safe area. And another thing that you might want to use from time to time is a line grid to help you line up your titles. Perhaps you want to have a row of titles one after the other and you want to make sure that they're lining up. That tool is also available. Okay, let's see what else. Yes, Quicktitler will let you do several different types of title graphics. You can create just a still graphic, or if you prefer, you can create a roll from bottom, a roll from top if you want to have those rolling credits at the end of your video. Or you can also do a crawl so that the information crawls along the bottom of your screen as the video is watched. Let's just work with a still. And in order to actually start your text, what we need to do is go ahead and click down on the horizontal text, and then you can just start typing. Now, as you look at this, as Edius comes by default with Quicktitler, the graphic that appears doesn't look that great. In fact, for the first 3 or 4 years of working with Edius, I didn't really use Quicktitler because every time I took a quick glance at Quicktitler, it always looked really horrible, something like what we're seeing here. And I would think to myself, well, I just certainly couldn't use that in any video project. That just looks horrible, and I'd close Quicktitler and go back to After Effects or Photoshop. And it wasn't really until a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago, that I was working on creating some tutorials for Edius 5.5, and it came to the point where I needed to kind of demonstrate how Quicktitler works, that I actually spent some time learning Quicktitler and realized that it is actually much better than it looks at first glance. And so if you have been avoiding Quicktitler because you've opened it up a few times and it just looks horrible, just rest assured that what you're seeing here by default is just a really bad low-resolution preview of your text. It's not what the final text will look like. If you want to see what the final text will look like, you have to hit the F3 key, and then that gives you a better representation of what the graphic will look like, the title will look like once it's at 100% resolution. The problem is, by default, as you continue to work with the tool, as soon as you make any adjustment at all, it loses that 100% resolution preview, and you're back to this really bad looking graphic to work with. And it might be fine for just creating text, but as you start working with other aspects of the title tool, gradiated colors and that type of thing, it's just not really workable as a tool. And so again, I avoided it because I just couldn't deal with this problem of the low resolution preset. Well, a few months ago, I discovered that there is a workaround to that, or a hidden feature, shall we say. It's not documented in the manual, but if you go to your keyboard and hit the Shift, Control, and F3 key, now any changes that you make are going to be 100% resolution. And so we can go ahead and change the kerning, for example, and it does still continue to be the 100% resolution. Apparently, the backstory on this is that in some computer configurations, perhaps where there's a very low-grade video card, that having this preset or this preview at 100% can cause problems, maybe even crash the program, or at least in previous versions crash the program. And so by default, Edius comes with this horrible low-resolution preview and doesn't document how you can change this. And so if you do change this on your keyboard, Shift, Control, F3, and you're working with it and you're finding that your program is crashing a lot, perhaps you need to go back and change that. Just hit the Control, Shift, F3 key again, and you'll be back to your really bad preview, but at least it won't be crashing your program. But if you've got a fairly decent video card, you should be able to work at 100% resolution as you work with Quicktitler. Okay, well, let's go ahead and make a title. Let's maybe just get rid of what we did here. Select it with your arrow key and select it once, just hit the delete key and it's gone. Let's create a graphic. Let's go back and click on T for title and create our first graphic. Now, you'll notice that down here that Edius has a number of presets that you could start with. If you want to try one of these funky presets, maybe try this rainbow outline here. And let's maybe drag that down to the center here. And if we should decide that, no, we wanted that to be all caps, how you can change a title that's already been set in place is to simply make sure that you are in your select tool, the arrow box here, and go ahead and click once to the title that you want to change and just double click on it again. And now we can go in and change that. Let's change it to all caps. Let's say we want to make that larger. Let's select the whole thing and increase our font size. And even though the drop-down arrow shows that 72 is the highest you can select, well, you can just type in any figure there. Let's give it, say, 200, and we can see that we've got now a very large title. Okay, but what if we don't want to have the rainbow edge effect? Well, we can go in and we can shut the edge off. Just down here, just unclick the edge, and now all you have is the font with a drop shadow. Now, if we are not a big fan of harsh, dark drop shadows, we can work with that. Let's go down to our shadow, and we could get rid of it altogether just by unclicking it. But let's say we want to just make it softer, and then back off on the transparency. Now, you may notice as you work with Quicktitler the first couple of times that the transparency tool here seems to be a little counterintuitive or backwards from other programs. In order to drop down the transparency, you actually add the percentage. So if you really want to back off on the transparency, you add to the percentage. And so take it maybe up to 80%, and then you just have kind of a subtle, soft background, backdrop or back shadow there. Okay, now if that's not the font that is matching up the other graphics that we made in After Effects, we can easily change that. Let's go double click in here again and select our whole title there and change the font. I believe the font that we were working with was this. And that is still a little bigger than the titles that we created in After Effects. So let's maybe back that off to like 180. And now we can position it again. Just make sure that our selector tool is selected and just point to anywhere then on the title graphic itself and drag it into place. You'll notice that there's a kind of little crosshair right in the center of the graphic. If we line that up with the center portion of the title safe bars, then we know that our title is centered. And it might be still a little high, so we can drag it down. Another way that you can change the size of your title is by simply grabbing a hold of one of the corner pins, and by holding down your Shift key, you'll keep the title in proportion as you drag it down. And then you'll also want to center it up again. Okay, so I think that's pretty close to the titles that we chose. We could save that. You can do by File, Save, or Save As. If you just hit Save, Edius will give that title some kind of a default name and drop it into your bin that's open. And now we could go ahead and add that to our video. Let's maybe unmute our video tracks. And I think we already have one here that was created in After Effects. Let's go and maybe create a new video track. You can always add more video tracks at any point. Just click in the dark gray area here and choose Add. Choose the Add V track if you're working with separate video and audio tracks. And hit OK. And now that adds another track of video. And we can go ahead and add our new title that was created in Quicktitler. And we see that it is almost the same size, but we can make that exactly the same by going now and opening up our Quicktitler again. And you can do that by just double clicking on the graphic itself on the timeline, and that'll open up Quicktitler again. And now we can go in, get our select tool, point to the graphic itself, and now we can line it up there. Looks like it needs to be a little bigger. And now that should match up the other graphics. And then all we have to do is go to the close, the X up here, and that will save the changes that you make, or it'll at least ask you, do you want to save the changes? And yes, we do, and then that makes a change. Now, in the little spot that we're doing for our client, we see that we have these titles. See where they have these titles kind of in a slow motion across the screen. Well, how can we do that? Well, let's go ahead and take our new title graphic that we just made, and let's get rid of the one that was made in After Effects and bring in our new title. Just drop it into place there. We'll notice that, first of all, that it is a lot stronger than the other titles. The other graphics that we made are kind of a see-through, a little bit more transparent than the one that we made in Quicktitler. And the reason for that is not how the graphic was made, but how it is being applied on the timeline with our mix tool. And so if we want to match up the transparency of these graphics, we can go and just bring down the transparency by grabbing hold of the mix line there and bringing it down, and now it's more transparent. Of course, you have to have the mix on in order to do that. By default, the mix tool is set to off, so you have to turn that on in order to be able to manipulate the level of video that appears on any video clip or graphic. Now we see that let's open this up a little bit. We see that the others are fading on and off, and so in order to do that with our new graphic, we need to set a node about here and bring the first node down so it dissolves up, and do the same at the other end. Let's maybe center that up more. But you'll notice that we still have this problem where all of the other graphics are kind of sliding as they come up, and yet the new one that we created doesn't. And so we need to figure out how can we do that in Edius. Did we miss something in Quicktitler? No, actually, Edius we'll handle this a little differently. Let's open up our layouter tool, and you can do that by hitting your F7 key or by right-clicking on the graphic itself and choosing from the drop-down menu, Layouter. And what we're going to want to do, you remember that when we created this title in Quicktitler, we centered it up using our crosshairs there. And what we really want to do is have that over starting so that it's over a little bit to the right. So what we need to do is use our keyframes and tell Edius to change the position of our title over time. And so let's go ahead and over here select our position tool, and let's add a keyframe by clicking on this once. And you'll see that Edius now gives these little two green arrows here. And now we can change the position of this graphic by going over to our settings over here and finding position. And by changing the amount on our x-axis, we can, by scrolling up with our mouse or by just typing in a figure if you like, we can see that we're rolling that across. So now we have told Edius that when the graphic starts on the first frame that we want to have our graphic positioned here. But then over time, as the graphic is utilized, we want it to slide to the left. So we can, with our mouse, drag our timeline cursor over and select a new keyframe position, and then change again the position of our graphic. And now we see it has the motion that we were looking for, and we can hit OK and play that out. Now we see that it's moving a lot faster than the other graphics, and so what we need to do is go back to Layouter and back off on our positions a little bit. Let's have this not go over quite so far. At the end, and then at the beginning, let's not have it start out so far. And now the motion won't seem quite so fast as it plays out. Okay, we see that it's kind of stopping there. Let's take a look at our keyframes and notice that we don't have them quite at the end. Let's just select both of these and slide them out to the end, and that should solve that. Okay, so that shows you how you can make a quick, easy title in Quicktitler. Maybe just in closing, let's open this up again by double-clicking on the graphic. And I just want to show you how you can save any creation that you've made as a preset that you can use the next time that you work with Quicktitler. For example, you remember we started out with this preset with the rainbow edges, but we ended up with just a nice clean graphic with a little bit of a drop shadow on it, very subtle, soft back shadow. And it may be that the next time that we want to use Quicktitler that we'll want to have that ready to go. So you can save your settings as a preset to use the next time. So with our title selected, let's go up to Style and Save as a New Style. And we can give it a name and hit OK. And now the next time that we want to work with Quicktitler, we can easily select our modifications as our preset to start with. Okay, well that's it for Easy Title. In our next tutorial, we'll show you how you can create a lower third using Quicktitler in case you find yourself in a tight spot where you need to make a quick lower third. Quicktitler is able to do that as well. Okay, but for now, that's it for Easy Titles with Quicktitler.